Hi, I'm your host Jeremy Payne, and today for That Was History. So let's discuss the topic of war again, but in a different manner. Some of you who watch our episodes could even attest to some of the effects caused by some of all our wars that we've had in the past on our younger generations, or even your generation. So straight all the way back to World War II. Back then, schools were a bit different from what they are today, as you can imagine. Today you have your core curriculum that you have to take, and basic electives to help us better ourselves for our future and what we like. Well, most of everyone's future back then, it was to help serve this country and fight for our freedom. So what would you start as a result of this to make sure that you had the best people trained for battle? It led to a developing of a class across the country teaching how to shoot down Nazis. That's right, you heard me correct the first time. They had a class where they would teach you how to save lives and also where you were taught how to shoot. So thus in 1942 they established what was known as the Victory Corps. The kids who joined would take a basic physical test and have to volunteer for wartime activities such as collecting scrap metal or being instructed on how to save lives and also how to end them. So when they weren't in their fitness classes or doing wartime activities, they were taking a class in first aid or sharpshooting. This would lead to some pretty cool clubs around the country, such as the Roosevelt High Girls Rifle Team. And tell me if you wouldn't take this class in shooting when you get to use a M1903 Springfield. I bet you would take this class in a heartbeat over a lame elective. Let's take this one step further. Think about all the 9-year-old boys and girls that you know. Aren't they cute with not a care in the world, no responsibilities? They just play, have imaginations, and let it run wild and free. Well, this was not the case back in 1756 when England was about to go to war with France, and the merchant Jonas Conway was afraid the Navy would draft all of his seagoing crews for war, leaving his ships unmanned, and they would create a United Kingdom children-only training ship. Flunking a test here would mean that they would probably be dead by drowning in the middle of the ocean. They were training kids starting at the age of 11 for war. Now they wouldn't take the rich kids, but the poor kids and the kids from the orphanages and allow them to learn this trade that they wouldn't be able to learn elsewhere. Seems fair, right? Well, some of those kids had never even learned how to swim, but it's been said that's why they call it a training ship. Now this to them might not seem like a bad idea because they would stay there until they were only 15 or 16, but that's only if they didn't drown or die from some other cause. Seems like war makes people go crazy and call for so many unnecessary events. Okay, so I'm not done. Let's take this one step further and jump forward several years to the Civil War, but yet to a younger age range. Today, if you want to enlist, you have to prove with many different forms of identification that you're at least 18 years of age or older. Back in the Civil War, this was different. Basically, if you were able to fight, you were going to war during this time period. They would let 9-year-olds volunteer for service and look the other way because there was such a need for soldiers. Now at that age, most of them would be used as drummer boys. How important were these kids, you may ask? Well, the drummer boy back in that time would allow for communication to all the troops on when to advance, when to fire, and other types of strategic maneuvers. One of the most famous of these drummer boys was Johnny Clem. At his age, he even shot a Confederate soldier. He saw action at Perryville, Murfreesboro, Kennesaw, and Atlanta, was wounded twice, and legend has it that when an enemy colonel told him to surrender, Johnny said nothing and simply shot him with his cute little sawed-off musket. He was then discharged from the army as a sergeant at the ripe old age of 13. I mean, come on, he's just a kid. He should be out there playing and going about his dreams. But no, he's on the other hand in battle fighting for what we now know as the United States of America. I tell you all this because war, no matter the time period, has an effect on the younger generations. Even over in the Middle East, I've been told by some of my friends who served over there that there are kids with high-powered automatic rifles walking the streets. They have to grow up fast and learn the hard steps to life without ever going through just playing around and having a normal childhood. Let us know your thoughts and opinions on this subject in the comment section below. If you like the content today, please hit the like button down below and be sure to share us with all your friends. And also hop on over to our social media sites, and we'll see you next time, guys.